All right, I think we're live. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Let me know if you guys can hear and see both of us.
I
I
can
see some people
see.
in the chat.
I love how you have such an international following.
Yes, I have a ton of international babes, is what I call them.
Somebody said, "Where you girls at?" It's two.
2 seconds later,
I
press
love
live.
it. I love the excitement.
See and hear us both. Hooray, yay. Okay, I'll wait for a few more people to join in. Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? Happy Tuesday? No, Wednesday. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it is Wednesday. See, now you're already a business owner. You're not going to lose track of all your
I
days.
know. It's freaking crazy, dude. Hello, everyone. Hi, Izzy. I recognize Izzy. Fellow
Oh,
clients here. Oh,
Nikki. That's so exciting.
hooray. Hi, Jess. Woohoo, made it live. I always love when people are like, yes, I made it. It's always fun catching creators live.
This is so much fun. I love it.
Hey, hot trainer is crazy. Paula is very beautiful.
Oh, thank you. So are you.
They're going to start simping over you in the chat.
Oh, that's so sweet.
No, she's not in the Bay. She is in Texas.
Yep.
Near Dallas, right?
That's correct. I'm in Dallas. Well, I'm in Plano, which is, I call it all Dallas, but
Close enough, probably.
We're Texan.
All righty. Well, we are going to get started. So thank you everyone who is here and then everyone who is watching on the replay. This is Paula. She is my coach. I've been working with her for what, I think 3-ish months now, but we have been online friends for a little bit longer than that.
Yeah.
I found her on Instagram because one of her, I think it was a reel, and she is very, like I say to everyone, if you like me, you will love Paula. She is very direct. She is blunt. She is honest, but she is kind and she is very loving. And she wants the best for everyone. But like me, like she's not going to sugarcoat anything. She's going to tell you what you need to hear. But compared to me, she is much, much, much more knowledgeable. I know a little bit. She knows a lot of it.
You know a lot more than you give yourself credit for.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, did I slide into her DMs? Yes.
Did.
I forgot exactly how the friendship started, but it was something like that.
I was trying to think about that.
I probably messaged you saying, "Oh my God, you're great. Keep doing what you're doing," or something.
You're very
like
good
that.
at networking.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, so I just wanted to bring her on here, and I'm going to. It's more going to be like a me asking her common questions and questions that I think would be beneficial for my audience, because my audience, I'm deep in my analytics. Let me tell you, they're mostly women from the ages of 25 to 35 ish, and that's what the questions are mostly going to be about. So, Paula, do you have anything to say or?
Well, I could give a little bit of a background real quick for anybody who, if you're brand new to me, haven't ever seen my page before. Obviously, I'm sure that's most of you, but I'm 36. I've been in the fitness industry. I mean, I got into fitness when I was 19. So, I mean, that long just as a passion, but professionally since I was 23 was when I first got certified. I got certified through the Poliquin Strength Institute initially. But I pursued further education through like precision nutrition and a few other sources. But I will say the majority of what I've learned over the years has been from firsthand experience, testing different things out. Over the years, I've been so hell bent on making my own mistakes and trying out so many different things. So you name a diet strategy, I've tried it. You name a form of training, I've tried it. I just felt like I would be able to give the best advice on things that I do firsthand, not just learning about in theory. So for example, like keto, I used to, when that was a huge fad back in like 2018, 2019, I feel like it was when it got super popular. I used to make fun of it being a fad because I make fun of fads, but I thought, in good conscience, I should probably just do this myself, see what it's like firsthand, see how it works. If it's even a viable strategy. And I ended up really liking it. I did keto for like a year. Not healthy to do long-term for someone who doesn't have, diabetic issues, insulin resistance, or anything else. So I didn't continue to, but I enjoy high fat foods. So just as an example, but I think a really important part of my journey that would be relevant for everybody here is that when I was in my 20s, I went through a period where I struggled very much with my weight. It's crazy because I didn't grow up struggling with my weight. I have very fit parents. Both of them are military, just very blessed that they have really healthy habits. But it was ironic. Once I got into the fitness world, specifically in the bodybuilding world, that created a bunch of food issues for me for a while. So I battled yo-yo dieting and the all or nothing mindset, this like binge restrict pattern that sent me into binge eating for a while, which actually turned into binging and purging for a few years. So it got really bad. I was never I was never medically diagnosed with an eating disorder, but obviously I know if I was making myself purge, that's disordered eating. Fortunately, I was able to get out of that years ago, so no longer an issue, but I share that with people because I think it helps other people feel a little bit normal with some of the things that they struggle with, because the fitness world can be so confusing. It can create some issues for people who go like really extreme routes, which is what happened to me. So the fact that I've kind of been through that journey, I've been able to speak to people who have some of those issues and talk about my experiences, how I fixed some of those things, how I got out of that, yo-yo all or nothing mindset. So that's a large bulk of who I serve now are women who struggle with the all or nothing mindset and are really good at maybe adhering to a plan for a period of time, but then, they regress and they gain the weight back again. And then it's just kind of this yo-yo cycle. So I really focus a lot on helping women with that. Oh, yeah.
There it is. I was looking for it.
Yeah, these are two ends of the spectrum for sure.
Yeah.
That left photo was in 2018. That's not even my heaviest that I got to. I think I was probably in the mid 160s. I'm 5'7". I know people will probably ask that. I think I was probably in the 160s in that left photo, but I think at my heaviest, before that photo, one of my low points in my yo-yo cycle, I probably got up to like 170s, maybe even close to 180, but refused to step on a scale at that point. So I couldn't tell you for sure, but yeah, I've been there.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
Alrighty. Hi, Lot. Lot, isn't it like 2 a.m. where you're at right now? Go to bed.
Oh my goodness.
Alrighty. So the first question that I have is, what are the most common health mistakes you see women making, even when they are trying really hard?
It's funny. I thought about that question because the answer is almost in the question. When people are trying so hard to make it happen as quickly as possible, it leads them to doing pretty extreme things off the rip. And it's weird because so many people's brains work this way. Whenever you have a big goal you want to achieve, people feel like it requires this great upheaval of effort, and it leads them to being super strict right from day one. They'll set their calorie deficit way too low. They will do way too much cardio, way too much training, or do things like 75 hard, which I'm not necessarily anti 75 hard for the right purpose. Yeah. However, the majority of the population does it for the wrong reasons. And that's honestly, it perpetuates the all or nothing mindset is what I found in so many people. Yeah. So that's what I find is like the number one thing most people do wrong is they just come out of the gate swinging and they don't understand what like a steady pace looks like.
Yeah. I always suggest people, because the average American is only stepping about 4,000 steps per day. So I always say one of the best things you can do is up it by 1,000 to 2,000 a day. And they're like, well, I don't think that's not doing enough. It's like, it's 2,000 more steps per day than what you were doing already. So if you can do that for a week, you're up to 6,000 to 7,000 steps per day. But the key thing for me to remind people is you are now proving to yourself that you can stick to this. You can do something that you said you were going to do, which is where, in my opinion, confidence comes from. Yes. So do that for a week, do that for 2 weeks, boom, you have a new habit. And now you can start to, adjust this little thing or that little thing, but little things at a time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's great advice, by the way, because steps are one of the biggest areas I think people don't put enough focus historically. I would say lately in the past, I don't know, I've seen it more so in the last year, maybe a little bit longer on social media, people talking more about a step goal, more about the power of walking consistently. Yeah. People really underestimate the significant compounding effect of just increasing their steps by, like you said, 2,000 per day. it doesn't feel like a big enough effort though, which is why people won't try it.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I read that the whole 10,000 steps per day actually came from, I believe it was a Japanese pedometer company, because the number 10 in Japanese, I'm pretty sure it's Japanese, don't quote me, but it looks like a man who's walking or running. So they use that. What the studies actually show though is for people who aren't stepping a lot, so the 2,000 to 3,000-ish per day, them getting up to 7,000 is where all-cause mortality risk goes down. So 7,000, it's like that sweet spot. But of course, I mean, more is better, like for mental health, for insulin sensitivity, for all that. So, but 7,000 for beginners is like that sweet spot.
Yes, absolutely. That's very, I didn't actually know that. That's very interesting.
Yeah. I learned the pedometer thing recently because my first thought was like, that's not true. And I was like, well, let me look it up. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, that is true.
Interesting.
It's super fun. Someone said I push myself to do 6 to 10 a day. Oops. My average walking now is 8. Hell yeah. See, there we go.
One thing I like, sorry.
No, you're good.
I was just going to say, for everybody listening, one thing that I'll tell my clients to help them like mentally digest the idea of increasing their step goal, because I try to get everybody up to 10,000. A lot of people come to me who are already hitting 10,000. If they're not there yet, I try and work them up steadily. Like if they're at 4,000 per day, I'll set their goal at 6,000 and then we get used to that. And then we go to 8, et cetera, et cetera. But on average, 2,000 steps is roughly 1 mile. That's going to be a little bit different based on someone's height and obviously the, length of your legs or whatever, your stride. However, if you look at it like that, you can reverse engineer that number back to minutes. And how much time is it going to take? Where can you find that time in your day? Because it's hard to mentally plan out where I'm going to hit X number of thousands of steps. Yeah. But if you think, okay, well, I'm currently hitting 5,000. I'm trying to get up to 7,000. Okay, that's only 2,000 more. That's 1 mile. Well, based on my walking pace, I could do that in 16, 17 minutes. It doesn't really feel that hard when you look at it like that.
Right. And then one thing I really want to commend, like you being, or one thing I want to commend as like a thing that you do as a coach, good Lord, is like you just said, if someone is coming to you and they're only stepping 4,000 a day, instead of saying, okay, well, you should actually be stepping 10,000. So you immediately do 10,000. No, it's like, let me build it up slowly, because a lot of coaches, I haven't experienced this, but I've just read horror stories online where they'll just say, all right, do 10,000 a day. Here's your diet that you don't even eat these types of food normally. So you're going to do this and then do that. Whereas Paula meets you where you're at. So she's going to, learn about your lifestyle, take into account what you actually do, how busy you are, and then work from there. So I do appreciate that.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet of you.
Girl, I will gas you up all day long.
This is great. We should do this all the time.
You're like, let's do it. That's funny. I just saw someone say they get 17,000 a day. That's diabolical work.
That is, I went through a phase when I was working at First Form. My last year there was 2021, and it's just a really, really big building. So I just walked a lot throughout the day regardless, but I had broken off an engagement that year. So I joked that I went through a manic episode because I don't know how I was pulling this off, but I was averaging for literally 4 months straight, 25,000 steps per day, according to my Polar Watch. Crazy. I know, literally. And at the time, I was
how
just
many shoes did you go through?
How do people not do this?
Yeah.
And now I'm like
struggling
to get in my 10,000 per day now. And I look back on that like, what was I even doing? That was insane.
Yeah, but I will say, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's wild how much of a difference that made in my caloric intake change as well. And it just goes to show like, how much of a difference it truly does make in your expenditure.
Yeah. When I was training for the ultra marathon, it was in July, but I was training before then. Your girl was eating like 2,500 to 3,000 a day. Well, on like the long runs. If I did that now, your girl's gaining body fat.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell. Also, I need to say that now that, I work from home, me getting my steps in, I thought it would have been easier. No, it's harder. I'll look up because I'm hyper focused. Like I have ADHD, obviously. And like, I love what I'm doing. So I will sit there for hours.
I know.
6 hours will pass. And I'm like, I finally look up. I'm like, 400 steps.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I gotta go.
And then you get
even right now. Yeah, I'm at 6,000. It's 2 p.m. I'm like, bro,
You don't even want
Like
to know what my steps are at. I've been sitting at my computer since this morning. I haven't even left the house. So I'm like, literally I planned that out. I'm like, when I'm done with this live with Melina, I got to go for a walk for like an hour because
I'm going to go lift and walk because that's unacceptable. Alrighty. The second question is damaged metabolism a real thing, or is it something that is misunderstood online?
Well, the short answer is kind of both, because somebody can have a sluggish metabolism, which is, I think, a better way to say that, because the words that we use are very important in how you would perceive what that actually means. And a damaged metabolism, like, you're not breaking your metabolism. However, lifestyle factors and different circumstances of maybe how chronically someone's been dieting for a period of time can lead them to having a sluggish metabolism. However, I do think that it is misunderstood because so many people might think that they have a sluggish metabolism, or a broken rather metabolism, when really what they do have is a slower metabolism or an inconsistent metabolism because their lifestyle is very sedentary or very inconsistent, or, you know, the things that they're doing have led them to being in a physical state of just not having an optimized metabolism. So what's most commonly the case is that they have a suboptimal metabolism that's a direct result of their lifestyle, not necessarily a broken metabolism. People who truly experience, I guess for lack of a better word, a quote unquote broken metabolism, what are typically people who come out of the bodybuilding world who have done very, very extreme contest preps. And just to make it clear, not every single person who competes and does a full contest prep is going to experience that, although that belief is held by some people. I just completed a contest prep. I competed. I did very well in my show, but I did it in a very healthy way. I had no issues with my hormones. I had no issues with my metabolism. My coach was able to increase my calories coming off of prep by 600 right off the rip without it causing me to gain fat. So, you know, I was under what would arguably be considered a chronic dieting phase for a prolonged period of time, 6 months, and it didn't damage my metabolism because it was kind of a slow, steady reduction in calories over a longer period of time. So it's a smaller percentage, a much, much, much smaller percentage of the population who truly experience this than the percentage of people who think that they're experiencing this. What they're experiencing is just suboptimal metabolism because what they're doing is just not a healthy lifestyle and there's no consistency to it.
Yeah. I don't have a lot to add to that because I'm not super educated in like metabolisms, but whenever I do see people saying, oh, I just have a slow metabolism, I'm like, no, you just get 3,000 steps per day and you eat McDonald's every other day. That's right. That's what it is.
But that would totally, thank you for that, Sue. That's very sweet. I appreciate that. Yeah, by the way, I apologize to everyone that we had to reschedule this, and I apologize to you because since I did have flu last
you're
week.
sick. You're sick. You're totally fine. I was sick too.
I was thinking about that.
You disappeared for like 4 days, huh?
I did.
Like
it was awful.
I was like, uh-oh.
I pray that nobody gets what I have, although it seems to be sweeping the nation right now. But I think that this is a really important question that I just want to harp on a little bit, if that's okay, because I hear that all the time. I was having kind of an argument with a client a couple weeks ago, her husband actually, who I worked with for a little while. And he thinks this is the case for him. And it's really hard sometimes to toe the line of like telling someone what the reality is without making them feel unheard at the same time. And I'm like, I understand fully what the scope of your issue is. He works in an environment where he has to entertain clients all the time. So he goes out to eat all the time and, drinks while he's there. And I'm like, there's just no consistency to your eating pattern. And it's led you to getting to this point where you feel like your metabolism is sluggish when the truth is we don't even have data to show that. Like you don't have any blood work to show that you have a sluggish thyroid. There's no actual evidence of that. You just think that's the case, but you haven't tracked long enough to see how your body does respond at a certain number of calories, which for anybody who's listening to this, if you have wondered if that is the case for you, the only practical, reliable way to test whether or not you do have an issue with your metabolism is to track your food at a healthy amount of calories for your body weight and see how your body weight responds to that. It's just treating it like a science experiment. It's like, well, let me just gather some data so I can see how does this variable, my body weight, change off of these metrics.
And tracking consistently and honestly.
Honestly is the key.
Honestly and consistently. You have to do both of those things. Speaking from experience, like me, why am I not dropping weight? Well, because you tracked 3 days out of the week and the 3 days you were not hitting your macros.
I know.
There's your answer, Melina.
I know. The question's always in what's not being tracked. It's like, well, we just don't know.
Yeah. So there's a super chat here. Thank you, August, for the super chat. What do you recommend people to do for NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, if they can't walk?
Oh, interesting. I've never gotten that question before. If they can't walk, like if literally somebody is a wheelchair user, cannot walk. And I do know that at some gyms, they have machines that, like I've seen this at gyms before, where that you can actually use your hands to paddle. To get in, some movement with your upper body, finding opportunities like that to move around. I mean, I guess my first thought when you say can't walk is going to wheelchair users.
Yeah.
And I would say the most that you can use your arms to, even if you're not walking, still getting out to get the movement. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anything that you can do that is going to make you more mobile than where you currently are right now. So whatever implement is at your disposal to do that, if your gym does have equipment like that, or if it's just a simple matter of with whatever you have available to you, just trying to move around more. Yeah. You might not be able to collect steps, but
yeah. Like if you can get even one of those handheld things for when you're at home watching, Netflix. Also, when it comes to people who have issues, like they literally can't walk, like they're in a wheelchair or they have some type of disability or issue or illness that prevents them from moving more. The unfortunate reality is, and this is kind of related to PCOS, where you have to be even more locked in and laser focused with your nutrition if you want to lose body fat / gain muscle or do whatever. That's just the unfortunate reality of it.
Right. No, for sure. Because when that goes for anybody who's limited in movement, it does just mean that you have to be a lot more fine-tuned with that. That's a great piece of advice.
All righty. The third one, what actually slows fat loss in women as they age?
Honestly, it's primarily lifestyle changes and how your lifestyle might change as you age. This is a challenging one for a lot of people because I think that this belief has been perpetuated from people who have, aged into 50s, 60s, who say that, oh, you get older and it's just so much harder once you're older. When the truth is, many people who, reach older age haven't been resistance training to mitigate any potential muscle loss. Because it's true that women lose, I think I looked this up before this just to make sure I had it correct, 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade after we hit 30, if untrained. However, it's not inevitable because it can be mitigated and prevented by resistance training and progressive overload. There is, hormonal changes that occur with perimenopause. We're entering into menopause, and those hormonal changes can affect how your body handles insulin and glucose, and it can increase insulin resistance a little bit. But again, things that are very manageable through lifestyle intervention alone, even before you look at HRT. So it's not, age is not a death sentence. I think it's just something that people have been led to believe by the older generations who, quite honestly, stop putting forth a lot of effort, or maybe never really did put in a lot of effort, get more and more sedentary as you get older.
Wait until you're my age.
Right. But shoot, you should see some of my clients who are I have 3 clients in their 60s. They all look incredible. And it just goes to show how important your lifestyle truly is. Moving a lot, a body in motion stays in motion, back to the walking thing, and building muscle is going to be your best way to make your older years your best.
Yeah, I agree. I follow a number of elderly women, so like 50s plus, who are lifting, who are shredded, strong. So it is possible. Also, I want to note that your metabolism stays the same from the age of 20 to 60. I'm going to post the study here in the, I have this on lock all the time because I hate when people, I'm trying to, I don't know if I can pin it. I can show it right here. Oh,
I'm going to pull this up.
That's not it. Sorry.
Oh, is that a different one?
Yeah. Because people are like, oh, you know, I'm just old. I'm 30, I'm 40. And then it's like, no, you're not moving as much. When you're younger, you know, you're in school.
Excuse me.
Okay. Like you're younger, you're in school, you're walking more, you're hanging out with friends, you're doing all these things. And as you get older, you have a desk job, you're eating, you don't really track your food. You're not watching what you eat. So again, it's just lifestyle. But yeah, from 20
Absolutely.
to 60, it stays the same. And then that's where that is right there. It shows the exponential and it has all the fun graphs on there. So
awesome.
for anyone
I'll have to look that up. No, that is awesome. Here,
and then even when you do hit 60, it's only like, I think it's less than 1% per year after that. And then again, you can mitigate that by strength training because muscle is metabolic gold.
It really is. Dr. Gabrielle Lyon refers to muscle as the organ of longevity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is such a powerful reframe because like I said,
Yeah.
I think the words that we use matter. And for so long, people have always looked at muscle as just a superficial aesthetic value.
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder. Oh, I'm not, just trying to look good. It's like, yeah, but muscle is not just about how you look.
Yes.
It's about keeping you healthy. It's about protecting bone density. It improves insulin sensitivity to have more muscle. It's the best thing that you could do.
Yeah. One way I like to frame it for the ladies is if you want to keep your independence as you age, you have to have muscle. You
Absolutely.
have to have bone density. One of the most common reasons people go into nursing homes is because they can't get themselves up off the toilet. They cannot go like this. They can't do that. It's preventable.
Yeah.
So that's like that. One of my main things here, I mean, obviously like funny reactions, whatever, like that's haha fun. But I want people, mostly women, because my 99% of my audience are women, but I want them to eat enough protein, fiber, and lift. That is it. That is my mission statement. I think that's first too, for the most part.
There's a lot of good people in the chat who are talking about some older relatives who, like somebody had said, my grandmother is 83 and still hiking. She's doing the trail that is coast to coast in Costa Rica right now. That's insane. Yeah. At 83, that's amazing.
I don't see that comment. Otherwise,
it's a little bit further up. I had to scroll a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But
that is awesome. See?
All of the people that you'll see who are in their older years, 70s, 80s, 90s, they walk all the time. And it's also, I saw something on TikTok somewhat recently. It was somebody who started hiking with their grandmother, and she, had a very hard time at first. And of course they're doing like easier walks and hikes, but it was like this montage of like over time, how things progressed. And it was insane how much her strength increased even starting at an older age.
It's never too late.
Good for you. It's never
too late. Okay, number 4, how much do hormones really matter for fat loss, and when are they being used as an excuse?
Oh man, this is such a touchy subject for so many people.
I know.
So there absolutely is so much to be said for your hormonal health. It's so very important. But hormones can refer to so many different hormones. Like, what are we talking about? Are we talking about sex hormones? Are we talking about people who have PCOS, who have, high test, high DHEA, or, issues that way? For the record, I was diagnosed with PCOS 4 or 5 years ago. So like I have firsthand experience with that. Is it your insulin health? Do you have blood sugar issues? Like, is it your thyroid? So like when people say I have hormonal issues, without having blood work done to know exactly what the gaps are, you don't actually know. You don't know if you have hormonal issues. You don't know what's going on. And sometimes the medical field is not your best friend when it comes to how certain things are treated. And I'll just tell a quick little story about being someone who has PCOS.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna turn my heater on.
Yeah, you're good. I was diagnosed with PCOS in 2021. Now, it could have been a type of PCOS. I'm not an expert on PCOS, just so you know. I was just diagnosed with it. But I know that there's different types of PCOS, and my doctor told me I likely have had it my entire life. Recently, I've learned that there's a type of PCOS that you can get coming off of birth control. And I had been on birth control for such a long period of time. So I don't know if it was just that, because everything's been pretty normal for years. I've had a normal cycle, et cetera.
Yeah.
Well, the story I wanted to tell with this, you know, I went to the doctor to get some blood work done a couple years ago. And I'm not even talking to my gynecologist. I'm talking to the nurse practitioner. Not that that's lesser or anything. It just wasn't my doctor. And it was like my first time talking to her, told her that I had previously been diagnosed with PCOS. And she was very quick to suggest that I go on metformin, which is diabetic medication. That's for people who have insulin resistance. And she's like, well, since you have PCOS, you might want to consider going on metformin. And I was like, I know what my blood sugar health is. Like, I'm very well acquainted with, like, I'm very insulin sensitive. I have been for a long time. I have no issues with that. And I was like, well, I'm not insulin resistant. And she's like, well, you don't fit the bill of somebody who has insulin resistance. Is exactly what she said. However, because you, I'm like, what does that mean? Because I'm fit, and that's the assumption she's making. And that really bothered me, because I'm like, well, here I didn't even have my like refresh blood work done yet. She hadn't looked at it to be able to say, oh, here's what your A1C is. Here's what your fasting blood glucose is. You should be on metformin. She was just saying that to me. And if I was somebody who was uneducated, I could have just taken that and been like, oh yeah, sure. You're the doctor. You're the expert. I should totally do that. So that's why I was like, this is terrible. I mean, I had a client talk to me one time and say that her doctor told her to go on metformin. And I said, well, you had blood work done, right? And she was like, yeah. And I said, listen, I'm not your doctor. I'm not a doctor, but what did your blood work say as far as like your fasting blood glucose and your A1C, both of which were in a perfectly healthy range. So I'm like scratching my head, like, well, why would her doctor tell her to be on metformin? So I do think sometimes that like those types of beliefs can be perpetuated by just quick diagnoses that people are given, because they're like, oh, PCOS, here, you have this issue. So then people are like, oh, I have issues with this. And they might not actually have that issue.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah. PCOS does often tie to insulin resistance. I had it mostly, I'd get hypoglycemic, pre-diabetic until I changed my eating to address it. And that's another thing, is that, your lifestyle absolutely is the biggest factor that's going to improve your, insulin health and blood sugar. But your original question was, how much do hormones really matter for fat loss, and when are they being used as an excuse? I think they're being used as an excuse when people really don't actually know. I'm a big data person, and I'm like, what evidence do you have for this claim? Do you have any evidence to show that you do in fact have hormonal issues? But even still, someone might truly have hormonal issues, but still will use that as a crutch and look for interventions before they look to changing their lifestyle. And I'll always say, like, that's the number one approach, is first change your lifestyle, eat healthier, eat more whole foods, move your body more, because
people don't want to hear it.
They don't want to hear it. That alone will improve things.
Yeah. I always find, I was talking about this, I think on a live the other day, where if you are someone who works at a traditional job and you lose weight, someone from, let's say, another office comes in and they're like, oh my God, like, you look great. What did you do? And what do you say? I started eating better, moving more. And they're like, yeah, but like, what did you actually do? Like, give me the secret. It's like, that's it. They don't want to hear it.
I know. It's too simple. I think sometimes people think it's too simple to be the truth.
Yeah, exactly. But no, there are no shortcuts unless you want to take performance enhancers. And I don't suggest doing that.
Wow. Somebody lost 286 pounds. Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Oh, here we go. Suian of the Woods. That's awesome, dude. 286. Wow.
That's quite a feat.
Helped alleviate 90% of the effects. That's awesome. Oh, look, you can see in the picture.
Yeah.
The profile, dude. That's cute.
I'm so proud of you. And someone else lost 112 pounds. That's insane. And both of them mentioned how it improved like she said, it alleviate. Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
I was just going to say, she mentioned how it alleviated 90% of her issues.
Yeah. See, there it is. And I'm not saying, everyone's experience will be the same, but I have hundreds of comments of women who have PCOS and they're like, yep, unfortunately, losing weight did help.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the answer. Okay, so this one is probably one of my favorite. What do you say? And I actually asked you this in your client call. If you guys didn't know, if you are a client of Paula, she does is weekly, right? Or is it multiple
Yes,
times a week?
I do twice a week.
Twice a week. Yeah, it's a lot in a good way. I always get the text. I'm like, shit. I'm usually like in the middle of something. The last one, I was at the gym and I finished my set and I got on the Stairmaster, drove home, and the call was still going on. It was great. There's a lot of excellent, phenomenal information in those calls, but I actually asked her this one. So what do you say to women who are afraid of getting bulky?
Well, number one, I will enter this response with kindness and say, I understand that you don't want to be bulky. You don't want to be She-Hulk. You don't want to, get too large. But my rebuttal is always, and this is just people who are not educated on the truth of hypertrophy and how difficult it actually is. Nobody ever gained muscle by accident. You do not have to risk getting too bulky because that is just simply not going to happen. If you look at the goals of fat loss and the goals of building muscle, fat loss is significantly easier than building muscle. It is significantly easier. As long as you eat caloric deficit, you're going to lose fat. Like you're going to lose weight. If you're eating in a caloric deficit, even if you change nothing else, that's all you have to do to start losing
even
weight.
A Twinkie deficit. Eat nothing but Twinkies.
Eating a deficit, but building muscle, it's like the stars have to be aligned. Like it's such a challenging thing because you have to make sure, and I'll make sure I answer this because somebody asked us a couple of times about nutrient timing, but you have to make sure, one, that you are staying optimally fueled with whole, healthy, nutrient dense food. A lot of people have a hard time hitting a caloric deficit of whole, healthy food. I hear that all the time. I'll set someone's calories in a moderate deficit, producing weight loss, aiming for a pound per week on average, which is very healthy, sustainable fat loss, and having them eat 80 to 90% whole food. And within the first week, they're like, this feels like so much food. And they're only able to get up to like 1,400 calories a day of whole food because it's more volume. So then you try to do that with building muscle. Most people are not good at doing that. Eating all like chicken and rice and eggs and oats and berries. Try eating 2,000 calories of nothing but, this is my diet, eggs in the morning, 2 whole eggs, 3 egg whites, half a cup of oats, 100 grams of berries. And then I have 3 more meals of 120, 130 grams of chicken, and then roughly a cup to a cup and a half of rice 3 more times. And then I have a larger meal at the end of the day of cream of rice and yogurt. Like every single day without deviation, plus training with intent. Most people don't train the right way to truly provide the right stimulus to change your muscle. You're not going to build muscle by accident. You don't have to risk
recovery.
Plus recovery, improving your sleep, getting in your vitamins. Like it's a grind.
Yeah. And like Paula said in the last call where I asked this, building muscle is so hard. People compete to do it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite rebuttals. It is so difficult.
That's my favorite now.
They literally compete at it. It is so hard to do. That's
and it's even
why
harder it's even harder as women. Like we also just simply don't have the testosterone in our bodies to look like men.
Right.
So you're not going to get big. Like
no,
I've been lifting for over 5 years. Like,
and you look great.
There's my tricep. Also, by the way, I made a reel about this. All right. It's in my drafts. I'm going to post it. If you are a muscle person, if you have muscle jiggles.
Yeah.
Like that is your tricep. Muscle jiggles. So especially if you're like sitting on a chair, your hamstring, it'll jiggle and then you flex and then it stops. So it's just one of those. Also, women with like lats, like if you want to do pull-ups, you got to build your lats up. Sorry, but having bigger shoulders and lats make your waist look smaller, so it's a win. But if you wear a sports bra and you're not flexing, you're gonna see your lats on the side. Like that's fine. That's just what happens when you have bigger lats. Just one of those things. I know women can be.
It gives you the hourglass.
Yeah, it does.
We like that.
Okay, so we kind of touched on this a little bit in the beginning. What role does muscle play in long-term health for women?
So I would say number one, metabolic health and insulin sensitivity. You are going to be much more insulin sensitive if you have more lean mass on your body, because that's the primary tissue where your body is going to dump glucose, is into muscle tissue. Glucose is stored as glycogen inside the muscle cell, which is kind of like your fuel tank, we'll say. But people who have more lean mass are more insulin sensitive, which just means that their body processes carbs more efficiently. You have increased resting energy expenditure, which means you just burn more calories in a rested state. It's going to protect your bone density. It's like you had mentioned before, it's going to help you maintain your independence. So long term, and you're right, we did kind of touch on this a little bit. So I'm sort of like beating a dead horse here, but building muscle is one of the best gifts that you could give yourself. And the best time to start is yesterday. It's literally never too late to start working on building muscle. You can build muscle at any age. At any age, you can build muscle. Don't listen to the naysayers who say that you stop building muscle at a certain age. That's just not true.
Yeah, objectively not true.
Yeah, it's like your body doesn't just turn off certain processes when you turn a certain age.
Oh, that actually reminds me. I see comments, not often, but enough for it to stay in my brain, where they say, oh, you know, older people, they shouldn't lift because it's dangerous. Older people are the ones that need to lift, because not only are you preserving muscle mass and or building it, but you're also building bone density. The only way you're going to make your bone stronger is by strength training. Like there's no other way. Yeah, calcium, you need it, but that's not building your bones back. You need a certain amount of force and tension on the bone in order for what are they called? Something oplasties or something, but whatever the bone like cells are.
I can't think of the word.
Yeah, if I see, I would recognize it. But there needs to be a certain type of pressure / tension on the bone to trigger that response from the cells of the bone to grow more and stay. So.
Yeah, no, it's very important for maintaining the strength of all your tissue.
Yeah. And also with strength training, like, yeah, that's all great. But another thing is it just makes you confident, not only just like aesthetic, like, yeah, aesthetics are great. Looking better, great. You know, having nice muscle mass, awesome. But for me, it's like the confidence of knowing, like, this top of this desk, Philip wasn't here. And I was like, I need to move this. Like, I need to fix it, whatever, because we had moved. This thing's like 70 pounds. And what did I do? I picked it up and I moved it and I put it on. That it's just confidence, knowing, oh, if I drop something or I need to go pick up this heavy thing, like, I know that I can do it. And that just brings a certain sort of confidence in myself. And another confidence thing is, like, let's say you're even benching, like, knowing that you're not going to drop it on your own face. Like, it just brings out a part of you that it's just confidence, you know?
Yeah. Well, also just seeing yourself getting stronger, it gives you confidence, and it also gives you another reason to train that's not just aesthetics. I'll tell people this all the time. You know, a big thing that changed for me in changing my physique was the years that I decided to train kind of like a power lifter. This is probably 5 years ago. And I had a girlfriend who was a competitive powerlifter, and we started training together. And I never cared about training for strength. I always cared about what I looked like. That was why I got into fitness to begin with. I wanted to, you know, look like a bodybuilder. And she was like, why don't you just try it? So I started training that way with her. And we were primarily following a typical powerlifter style training, where it was like, you know, 8 sets on deadlift, warming up for 3-4 sets, and then you're working sets, and, you know, some accessory afterwards. And I saw myself get so much stronger so fast, and it was so empowering. It brought such a new level of joy to my training that I didn't previously have. And I was even starting to feel like, dude, do I not like working out anymore? Like, this sucks. Like, I was just not looking forward to my workouts. And when I started doing that, not only did I fall even more in love with training again, but my body changed so much faster. Who knew that forcing yourself to lift a heavier weight would significantly change your body so much faster?
Yeah. So, and yeah, I remember when I first taught myself how to deadlift, I couldn't deadlift 185 pounds, which, I mean, whatever. Heavy is relative to everyone. When you're just starting out, you probably, you know, even 135, some people can't deadlift. Totally fine. When I was like, dang, can't deadlift 185. So I was like, all right, that's my goal. So, you know, I started training not every day, but a couple times a week I'd deadlift, and then I would try it. And then I recorded it. And I'm so glad I did, because I deadlifted it. It was horrible form, but, you know, I was new, and I dropped it, and I literally like jumped up and down, and I was celebrating. So I was so fucking happy that I finally got 185. And then I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And then I switched my goal to over 2 times body weight. And then I ended up doing 275. And
holy crap.
I'm like, I couldn't. And then I sat there just thinking, like, just 2 years ago, I think it was maybe a 2 year difference, I was almost crying at the fact that I can deadlift 185. If that Melina could look at the 275 Melina, she'd be like, what the fuck? So it gives you something. Yeah, I still can't even believe that.
That's amazing.
It
very
gives
heavy.
Yeah, I think I was 120. So I was heavier now than I am now. That's still 275, still a lot.
My deadlift max is like 255, 260. I mean,
That's
the
still
excuse I'll give is that I have further distance from the ground to pull it than you do.
I'm like this high from the ground.
Not to negate your strength here, because that's insane. That's very heavy.
Yeah. So all that to say is lifting, it has a lot of benefits, but it gives you something to look forward to. It gives you something to chase after. And once you hit that goal, it's like, oh my God, I did that.
Yeah, dude, it's the best feeling in the world. I forgot to answer this earlier. I'm so sorry,
Trendy
Fendi.
Let me see if I can find it.
Trendy Fendi, they just put it in again. Okay, can carb timing help with muscle hypertrophy and physique goals? Specifically wondering if eating a more simple carb before and after workout paired with the protein would help with physique faster. So I can't speak to how much faster it's going to result in the muscle being built, but I will tell you that timing carbs around your training is the most effective way to fuel yourself for training. And your research is correct to get a simple carb, pre and post training. They'll call it peri-workout nutrition. So before, during, after. You can even get supplements that are intra-workout carbohydrates. Usually it's a product that's got like a cluster dextrin and a dextrose in it. Combination of a couple different carbohydrates that are simple carbohydrates that get into your system a little bit faster. But if you are trying to build muscle right now and you're trying to get in an optimal amount of fuel, it is definitely not a bad idea to, one, time higher carb meals around your training before and after, and then maybe even to supplement some of your carbs. Usually for most of those products, a scoop would be anywhere from 25 to 30 grams of carbs, and just fill up your shaker cup and sip on that while you train. And then getting a simple carbohydrate afterwards. I really like pineapple as a simple carb post-workout that's nutrient dense, but also a high glycemic fruit that is going to get into your system a little bit faster. So, for the average person who's just trying to achieve overall good body composition, fat loss, et cetera, evenly spacing your carbs out throughout the day is a perfectly fine way to approach this. Like, that's pretty much how I'm handling things right now. I'm not necessarily getting a significantly higher amount of carbs around my workout. I do have a little bit higher carbs post-workout than my other meals, but for the most part, it's somewhat evenly dispersed throughout the day. Just to help with like the volume of eating, because I mean, most of my meals are 50 grams of carbs, 75 grams of carbs is pushing it a little bit for me in one sitting, to have that like in one meal, but it is a wise move to do that if you're trying to build more muscle.
Yeah. And I would say for the beginners watching, that's not something you need to focus on when you're first learning, even just how to eat properly, how to just hit your macros. So
yeah, it's a little bit more
just as an asterisk. You don't have to do that in the very beginning.
Yeah, no,
don't run yourself ragged.
I'm glad you add that. And then the follow-up question was, should I keep calories at maintenance? That's a really good question. I think people have historically believed that they have to be in a caloric surplus to build muscle. Just to make it clear for everyone, you can build muscle in a deficit. The things that are required to build muscle are training appropriately, the appropriate amount of volume and mechanical tension being placed on the muscle, and hitting your protein goal. And of course, you can't be starving yourself, but being, optimally fueled. But you can still be optimally fueled in a deficit, because just because you're in a deficit doesn't mean that you're bottoming out your calories. It just means you're eating below maintenance to some level. But eating at maintenance, that's what I'm doing. I'm eating at maintenance in this bulk season. So even if you were to eat at a surplus, anything beyond like 100 calories over maintenance is excessive and would just lead to fat gain.
Yep. Yeah. I'm glad you said that. And speaking, just a side note of deficits, the whole 99% of women do not need to be eating 1,200 calories in a deficit. I'm 4'11". Paula has me higher than 1,300 calories in a deficit. So please. but I'm 4'2" and I'm sedentary. I'm not talking about you.
Yeah, right.
But for the vast majority of women, please, you can eat more food and lose body fat, please.
Yes, absolutely. It's back to your very first question, what are some of the mistakes people make? That's probably the biggest, is going way too low with your calories too quickly. I mean, I am 5'7", and I started my cut last year in June at 142 pounds. Didn't decide to compete until around September. I competed in December, and my calories never went below 1380. That was the lowest they got for me. And that's still pretty low for my state, I would say, because a typical cut for me, I'll cut at like 1700 calories. But of course, getting that lean where I had like veins on my lower abs, like shredded lean, required that I do eat lower.
It's like stage lean.
Yeah. And I was only 1380 for 2 weeks. Prior to that, my average caloric intake was like 1480. And I wasn't doing any cardio. I was just hitting my step goal of 12,000 steps per day. So it's a very steady cut over time. But yeah, you do not have to eat that low.
All right. The next question, and I know this is something you pretty much specialize in. I know I'm pretty sure your Instagram thing says helping women steer away or, from all or nothing thinking. So how do you help women move away from all or nothing thinking with food?
So, man, I thought a lot about this question.
It's a big question.
Because the approach is a little bit different with each person, but the general answer I'll give you is that people need evidence that a modest approach works, that an imperfect journey works. So I force them to acknowledge what they're doing, right? And I'm like, listen, all my clients do track their macros. I have them focus primarily on calories and protein. I let their carbs and fats fluctuate slightly for the average person. A little bit different with my muscle building clients. But they have to see that, okay, when you have the off days, when you go out to eat, when you have a snacky weekend, like log all of it, log it all. You need evidence that you can have slip ups and still see progress, because what sends people into the all or nothing mindset is it's not even for a lot of people a poor relationship with food. It's a poor relationship with perfectionism and this belief that if they are not being perfect, they are failing. And that is illogical. It is improbable to think that you're ever going to have a period of time in your life where every single metric's just going to be perfect every single day. It's the biggest battle I fight mentally with most people, is that thought that like, it's not worth it if I can't be perfect. And I'm like, but nothing's ever going to be perfect. Your goal is to be consistent despite imperfections. That was a big thing for me that helped break that, was learning that like I can eat a cookie and log it and move on past it and continue just doing what I'm supposed to be doing and still see weight come off. Because I had this belief that like, if I ate certain foods, I wouldn't be able to lose weight. Like if I eat that, I can't lose weight. If I eat that, it's going to make me fat. Like that was this illogical subconscious belief that I held. But it was the process of tracking, not because I'm obsessing over the numbers, but because it's just bringing awareness that like, oh, that was not a very perfect journey. Like I can look back and be like, cool, I lost 20 pounds, but I wasn't 100% perfect with just the most perfect food choices every single day. Like I had times I went out to a restaurant. I had times that I had a drink, I worked those things in and I was able to continue making progress, lo and behold. So it helps ease the stress in the journey that those slip ups are going to derail you, because it is a slip up that sends someone into the nothing. It's like they start all with 75 hard, which if you're doing 75 hard right now, I'm not knocking you. Just know that. Just have a healthy expectation that what you're doing is not a lifestyle long-term. It is a challenge. It's meant to be hard. Because I notice a lot of people come off 75 hard, they get depressed because they set this mental standard, this bar so high, they can't maintain it forever and feel like they're failing if they don't keep doing that when they're done with it. And then it sends them into this spiral. So that's why I feel like a lot of people gain weight when they're done with that, because they set this mental standard that that's what life has to look like. So
I talk about 75 hard. No, you're okay. I talk about it in a few of my videos when it comes up, because some of the people I react to, they're usually larger ladies who want to do it to lose weight. And I always say, this is not a weight loss plan. Or will you lose weight if you do it perfectly? Yeah. But it's not teaching you anything. It's teaching you some grit, maybe some discipline. Sure. However, once you stop, what are you going to do? Are you going to go back to eating the same? Because you're going to gain the weight back. And then also one thing with people who are starting off with this huge goal, like I need to lose 100 pounds or, whatever it is, they do 75 hard and, they get 3 days in or 2 weeks in or whatever. And oh my gosh, I forgot to take a progress picture. So now I have to start all over. That's not real life. Real life, you're going to have slip ups. Like none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. Paula could tell you. Don't ask Paula about my December. Your girl was.
It was a tough season.
It was one of the hardest probably months, not in my life, but recently it was not okay. But just like Paula says, like it's a speed bump. Like you can either sit and wallow in it and keep spiraling down, or you can, get it together, get back on track and keep going. And that's where I'm at now. And I am back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. All things are temporary. You just have to tell yourself that in those moments, like that, what I'm experiencing right now is temporary. It's not going to be forever.
Yeah. And it was very temporary, very hard temporary, but we get through it. So how do you help women? What?
Someone said, love you, Melina. Help me lose 71 pounds watching your videos. I was 215. Now I'm 144. That's amazing.
Oh, congratulations. Oh, Delulu is a Salulu. That's so funny. Thank you. That's really sweet. Sheeny Beanie. Hello. Always love seeing your name in the chat. I get embarrassed when I have slip ups, but then I have no data. So I'm like, oh, I'll weigh in when I do better, knowing full well that I'm not gonna.
That's what most people do. Yeah. They hide. Yeah. They hide from it. You hide from your sins, we'll say. No one wants to track the M&Ms.
That was me with my booze. And then I tracked it and I was like,
yeah, awareness is everything.
Yeah. And I haven't not had a drink in 18 days. So
see, that's another reason why I make my clients track everything. I'm like, listen, this is data. I'm not going to yell at you for going out to eat. I'm not going to yell at you for drinking. Yeah. It's going to teach you what's in what you're eating, because it's no different than like if you were ignorant to the price of, let's say, shoes. Let's say that you didn't know the value of money. You just knew that, you needed to spend money on certain things. And you go to the store and you buy a pair of shoes and you just swipe your credit card and you go home and you're like, oh my God, that was $1,000. Like you don't know what you don't know. And when you ignore the reality of the caloric value of food and you don't log it, you don't teach yourself how many calories are in a crumble cookie, it's easy to assume that it's really not that bad. But then you look at it and you're like, oh my God, that's actually an insane amount of calories.
800.
Literally. Or more. Absolutely.
Blurb says, what's your dog's name?
That's Theo. Did you see him nudging me there?
It's Tail. Does he have a sock? Yeah. Or is that Layla?
No, Layla's the one with the sock. She's over here in her bed being sweet. Aww. He likes to nudge me when I'm on calls. And he's coming back over here now. He's circling me like a shark.
So before I move on to the next question, I want to catch up on these super chats. Oh, hi, baby. Oh, Ashley, thank you for being a member for 1 month. Same with you, Tam Popo. Thank you for being a member for 1 month. Oh, KD, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. I didn't even realize people could do that on my channel. That's very sweet. Thank you. If you received a membership, I'm pretty sure it's the Golden Bison one. If you go to my channel, click on post, you'll have access to all of my Monday mindset posts. So every single Monday, obviously, for the last, I think I'm on number 38. So it's been almost, I'm going to do it for a full year, but every Monday I love it. I create a post that talks about, and they build on top of one another. So it started out with, I can't even remember because it was so long ago, but it talks about discipline, lifestyle changes, tough love, that kind of stuff. Then I have challenges every week for people to do. And then a poll, and then you can talk about, your wins and not losses, but struggles in those posts. So if you got the membership, you can scroll through and look at those. Also, KD, thank you for the super chat, and don't wait till Monday. So this is one of my favorite things where I can always tell, and of course this isn't true for 100% of people, but I can always tell when people won't succeed in any goal really is when they say, well, I'm just going to wait till the 1st. I'm just going to wait until Monday. I'm going to wait until this. And it's like, if you really wanted to do this thing, you will start now. I always give this example when I took my life back in 2020, call it my second birthday, May 22nd, 2020. It was like a Thursday or a Friday. I was like, I'm done. Like I'm done being fat. That's what it was. Angelica, thank you for being a member for 6 months. Hi, sweetie baby. I love her. She also does reaction content. Oh, look at him.
I need to start doing that. I don't even know where you even find the videos to react to. I'm like, I feel like I would do so good at this, but I don't know.
You would be very good at it. TikTok. You can hop on a call and I can kind of like show you my process. It's super simple. But Angelica, she is special, not in the bad way, but in the good way. because she was a fat acceptance creator. So she was the one posting those types of videos back in like 2020, 2021. And she found her way out of it. She's lost almost 100 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good for her.
On her own. I'm not saying GLP-1s or weight loss surgeries are bad or wrong, but she did it all natural.
Wow, that's amazing. I have so many questions
she,
for her.
She does react, or she has done reactions to the videos that she used to post. It's really interesting. So you should everyone.
She reacts to her own videos. I love that.
It's awesome. Girl, stop sending me money. I'm gonna go buy something from. She also makes jewelry, so whenever she sends me money, I go buy her jewelry.
Well, that's a great way to handle it. I love that.
Thank you, Angelica. And then Saki Girl, thank you for being a member for 7 months. How do you build, I'll leave this for you, Paula. How do you build a good split/workout routine?
Well, I mean, the best advice I'll give you where you want to start is by following quality training programs. That was where I started before I initially got certified and took additional courses on program design, because that was, my question was I wanted to know how to put a workout together. So after I got my initial certification in strength coaching, I went back and I took some additional courses on designing programs. You don't have to have like a scientific level of knowledge on program design to be able to put together a good workout. But there is science to, hypertrophy and what's ideal. But the best thing that you can start doing to learn is just by following solid programs. That was really, yes, I learned what the structure is, but the majority of the knowledge I have now of like putting together good workouts are just from the vast number of programs that I've done over the years. And there are certain coaches that I really love to follow. Christian Thibodeau, who is French Canadian. I started following him like 15 years ago. He was a content contributor on tnation.com. When I first got into fitness, when I was like 20 years old, I had a guy friend who introduced me to that website, t-nation.com. It's full of articles and just archives upon archives of different articles on nutrition, on training. Some can be very, very advanced. But I started to discover certain coaches on there who I really like to follow. Christian Thibodeau is one of them. John Meadows, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. But he had, phenomenal programs on there as well. Really great educational articles, because I just wanted to learn about like, how do you build muscle and burn fat? So I just started consuming all this information and I would just browse through this website. Yeah, Christian Thibodeau. I love him.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. No, he puts out very, very good educational content. If you go through his reels, I haven't looked at his page recently, but he puts out a lot of like Q&A style content at times where he'll just like throw a question up on there and then answer it. But he has some really great programs. Also, the instructors from Poliquin Strength Institute, when I got certified, they left that company and then went and started their own Kilo Strength Society. It's in California. But they're primarily like an educational organization for coaches when it comes to strength and conditioning and program design. But they have a lot of really great programs on their website as well that are really not very expensive to get. I think maybe like $50 for a macro cycle, something like that. But that would be my best piece of advice for you, because I wouldn't be able to teach you right here how to put together a really good split other than just the general basics of like push, pull, legs kind of deal, or because there's just so many different ways to put it together. It's just, it's innumerable.
When I first started lifting, well, I used to lift in like high school and dabbled here and there a little bit. But when I first went back in 2021, I did the typical bro split, push, pull, legs, upper, lower. And as I went along, I just figured it out as I did it.
Yeah.
I think one thing to watch out for is, what is that saying? Perfect is the enemy of good, or good enough. So instead of, slaving away, like trying to create the perfect workout split, and you're not going to the gym, you're just sitting here writing about it or researching it, that just go to the gym. You can figure it out as you go. But the key is to start doing something. And then as you go, you learn along the way. There's tons of resources out there, tons, which can make it a little bit frustrating, because it's like, okay, well, who do I listen to? But thankfully the information is all there.
What that should also tell you, though, is that there's not a perfect or a number one correct approach to doing this. Perfect is the enemy of done. That's the quote.
Okay.
Which is, I think, one of the, I need to remind myself of that a lot because I am a perfectionist when it comes to stupid little things, when it comes to work. But there's so many different ways to train that are very effective. And if you look at like, let's say the world of bodybuilding, there's like the bro science people, and then there's like the science people, and they're
the
like
science-based
constantly at
lifters.
odds. Yeah. My coach brought this up on a podcast we did recently, and he's like, they're both wrong because they're both right. When they're arguing with each other about the science-based people versus the bro science people, it's like, there's anecdotal evidence that both methods work. So it's like, you don't have to have the most perfectly curated, scientifically sound, hypertrophy regimen in order to effectively build muscle.
They have like the cuffs like, okay, well, technically at this angle and then at this, and then you do this. And I'm like, just pick up the circle, just pick up the heavy circle and go.
Right. Literally.
I really like this. So sometimes planning something tricks my brain into feeling like I accomplished something. This is a thing. Talking about your goals, it signals the same dopamine or whatever receptor in your brain to make it feel like you actually did that thing.
Yes.
So it can be very beneficial for people if you have a goal not to tell people about it because your brain thinks you're already doing it. Another thing is with planning, like let's say you do want to start lifting, like talking about lifting, or I say it in the sense of like doing the thing. Talking about the thing is not doing the thing. Writing about the thing is not doing the thing. Thinking about the thing is not doing the thing. Dreaming about doing the thing is not doing the thing. Doing the thing is actually doing the thing. So you can be, preparing and planning and researching and this and that. You're not doing it. You need to actually do it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be messy. You don't need to know what you're doing to start. Just start messy, start afraid. You just have to start.
Amen. Absolutely.
I can talk about that forever.
For sure. No, everybody needs to hear that because planning does become a form of procrastination.
Mm-hmm.
You can plan your way into just waiting.
I have a friend. I've met him in, I think 2020 is when we were roommates together. And every year he's like, oh man, I really want to start lifting. Because he's skinny, really skinny guy. Struggles to eat, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'll help you, I'll go with you. I'm not a trainer, but I can show you what I do. And it's always just like, well, I really want to do this first. I want to do that. And the last excuse he gave before I put a boundary in place saying, don't ever talk to me about this again until you're ready to go it was like January. And he's like, well, I want to wait until the New Year's resolution people leave because I don't want to be seen as a New Year's resolution. And I'm like, dude, that doesn't make any sense to me. What do you mean at least the New Year's resolutioners are doing the damn thing.
Literally. It's like, well, what's wrong with that?
Yeah. And nothing's wrong with being a New Year's resolutioner. I welcome them. I text Philip, we were at the gym yesterday, a little bit later. It's probably like 6-ish. And I texted him, I was like, I don't recognize about 98% of the people here. He's like, yeah, I think I didn't expect this many New Year's resolutioners because we've been at this gym for like 3 or 4 years now. And I was like, yeah, I hope they stay. Like, I hope people can find joy and confidence and, the happiness that the gym and lifting has caused me. So
yeah, I want to touch on something real quick, which by the way, I love that that's your attitude. I knew that would be your attitude. It bothers me so much when people complain about all the New Year's resolutions in the gym. Listen,
I hate it
because it's first of all, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. How are you going to complain that this country is in such a state of poor health and at the same time be pissed off that people are trying to better themselves because you think they shouldn't have to wait until New Year? You're right. They shouldn't have to wait until the new year, but damn it, they're here now.
If they're here,
let them work on bettering themselves.
Exactly.
But I wanted to mention something about what a couple people put in the chat. Somebody said, Shy Violet Deborah said, tell nobody about your weight loss and training, just write it down. And somebody else responded, Abby said, tell nobody because people get mad and jealous. I just want to touch on that real quick because that is a real thing. There are definitely people, unfortunately, in many people's lives who don't react positively to them trying to better themselves, whether you're trying to become somebody like a content creator on social media and friends will make fun of you for that, or just not show support at all with that, or will pick at you, about the fact that you're trying to lose weight or eat healthier. That sends me sideways. It bothers me so much, especially when it comes from I've had clients whose family members have said hateful things to them. about like how they're looking old because they're losing weight. And I know that
Oh my
made me very
God.
upset. Yeah. I had a client whose mom was like, you need to stop losing weight. Your face is looking old. And I was
The
like,
mom. I
first of
swear,
all,
some women, their moms were their first and biggest haters. That's
it
so
makes me
sad.
so sad for them,
Yeah.
because I have such
That's
a great
horrible.
relationship with my mom, and she's such a huge support. It makes me sad for women who don't have that.
My mom, yeah.
Your social influence is going to be easily one of the strongest predictors of your success. People don't put into consideration how impactful your social environment is to your success, because herd mentality is a very real thing, and giving into pressure. And I don't just mean the pressure of like drinking or, giving into the bad food, but just putting yourself in that environment means ultimately, no matter how hard you try, you are going to take on the behaviors of the people who are around you. And if you start auditing your friendship circle, and not just their habits when it comes to eating and health, but also the words that they use. And if they are people who are putting you down because you are trying to better yourself, and it doesn't even have to be overt. If they just make little snide remarks, or like, you don't need to do that, or like, why are you doing that?
Live a little.
Live a little.
This won't bite, won't hurt you.
The seemingly harmless comments. It's like, well, is that even somebody that you really want to be spending a lot of time around anyway?
Exactly.
Because that doesn't sound like a friend. That sounds like a hater. So it's the hardest part of this journey to audit your friendship groups and to try to put some distance and boundaries in place with that. But it's necessary.
Yeah. And I think the biggest reason why people do it is because, this is another topic I love. It's when they see someone doing the things that they told themselves that they cannot do, or it is not achievable for themselves, they get very upset about that.
Yeah.
Because you are holding up a mirror to their face and saying it's possible. And that makes them very uncomfortable. So instead of them being, the adult and looking inward and saying, oh, these changes can be done, they instantly project it on you.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're getting too small. A little bite won't hurt. Live a little. No. Don't get that shit out of my face. Sorry, but I hate it.
I know. It sends. Well, and Abby even followed up and said, I believe people can have some different habits and not drag you down. It's when they get bitter and try to change your mind there's a problem. Absolutely. One of my best friends, we could not be more opposites. And she is one of my best friends. Like, in every way, shape, and form, we are different. She hates working out, doesn't eat healthy. She's not overweight. She just doesn't. I've known her for like 15 years. We used to live together, and she would survive off of like cookie dough and chicken nuggets. And anytime that I would be like, want to go to the gym with me? She'd be like, I would rather die. But she never would make me feel, she was supportive. Exactly. Like, sometimes she would cook me eggs for breakfast and coconut oil, and very supportive, sweet friend. Like, you don't have to have the same lifestyle to live harmoniously. Exactly. It's just unfortunate truth how some people act that way sometimes.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I had a cutoff friend. I talk about this frequently too. I had to cut off friends in the beginning of my journey because the only thing they wanted to do was eat hot Cheetos in bed, drink alcohol, and not move. And I'm like, I can't, this is not a life for me anymore. It was, but that was not a life I wanted to live anymore.
No.
All righty. Next question. How do you help women build confidence that is not tied to the scale?
Man, that's a really great question. I've never really thought about how I directly do that. I think it's by highlighting, celebrating their wins that have nothing to do with the scale. And learning to acknowledge the wins, because as women, we're so quick to acknowledge our failures, but not acknowledging our wins. So if someone sends me a check-in, they'll, beat themselves up over, like, I literally had this yesterday. I had someone send a check-in, and before I even went to look at her macro numbers of what she had hit that week, she had put on there, like, I really wish I had been a lot more consistent this week. And I went and looked at it, and like, at a glance, I'm like, this is a pretty solid week. Like, what are you looking at when you say you should have been more consistent? The 2 days that you missed your protein goal, like, right. All the other days were like, they couldn't have been better. Like, you did so great. Like, why are you beating yourself up over these little things? And then specifically regarding the scale, I actually just did a coaching call on this today, teaching people that the number on the scale doesn't just represent your body fat. It represents every tissue inside your body. And how sometimes the scale might mask true fat loss for any given reason. It could be for weeks. Yes. It could be inflammation from some food you ate. It could be muscle inflammation from, a new training program, because you're literally breaking down muscle tissue It's going to experience inflammation as it repairs itself. Where there's inflammation, there is water. So and teaching them that the number on the scale is just a metric. It's just a data point. It's just to teach you something about how different variables might affect your overall body weight that has nothing to do with body fat. So I really try and desensitize them to the scale and like not put so much emotional weight on that thing. One of the ways I do that is I encourage people to weigh themselves daily. And I'm like, listen, if you're afraid of the scale, one of the best things that you could do is just get used to looking at it so that you emotionally desensitize yourself to stepping on the scale, because it's literally just a number. Your value is not hinged on that number. It doesn't represent your worth. It's literally just data. And the more that you can face it, it's like exposure therapy. You're not going to be held hostage emotionally by this scale, and it's going to set you free at some point in time. And you want to be set free from that. You don't want to just hide from it. So I have them celebrate wins in their behavior and being proud of themselves for following through, not just only celebrating whenever they see scale change.
Yeah. And speaking of scale changing, like your weight changing day to day, not necessarily not caring, but it just not affecting you. I'll use myself as an example. Years ago, if I would have saw the jump that I saw this morning, which I'll say in a second, it would have sent me into a spiral, like not eating, walking more, actually, whatever. And now, because I am desensitized of it, I know that your scale weight is, like you said, it weighs everything. It does not take into account how you slept, your hormones, if you're on your period, what you ate, how you exercise. So I weighed myself this morning because I try to weigh basically every single day. And I was up like 1.5 pounds and zero reaction, because I know yesterday I had a very heavy back day and I ate some salty food right before I went to bed. There's my answer. I did not gain 1.5 pounds of body fat in one day. I would have to eat like uranium to do that.
Yes. 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. You would have to eat
on top of your maintenance.
Right. Maintenance plus 3,500 calories. For me, that would be 5,500 calories. Now, I'm not saying that's not possible.
Right.
I mean, I've seen it in food logs before, but
it didn't happen.
No, you'd have to drink a ton of liquor that's like margaritas in order to even get the calories in, and eat a ton of sugar and like a crumble cookie.
Or 3.
But it's just so improbable for someone to gain. Like, okay, when I came home from Christmas, I was 8 pounds up, and I wasn't like gorging myself on food. Right. It was just the result of the processed sugar holding on to inflammation, a little bit more substrate. Glycogen, more substrate in my GI tract from just the food that I had eaten. It took probably
food waste also. Like if you're consuming, that weight is literally going
right. It took probably 4 or 5 days for it to come back down to normal, but it always does. It always comes back down.
Yep. Yeah. When I had that not great December, Paula saw it in my weight and in my photos, just all the inflammation, like actually like being bloated. And I'm like, oh my God. And then a few weeks, and then it finally just
comes down.
Went right back to mostly normal.
It is a relief when it comes back to normal, because it doesn't mean it doesn't freak you out. Even though you have the knowledge, it still sucks. You're like, I look so puffy. This is terrible.
Yeah. Especially when you can see like the puffiness. But man, booze and ultra processed foods, it'll do it to you.
It'll make you so inflamed.
Another thing about the scale, and this may be useful. I always tell people, like, the things that I say, these are things that work for me. So take it if it works, leave it if it doesn't. I'm not saying everything's going to work for everyone, but with the scale, if you don't like looking at the number every single day, just so you can see the data and the averages for the week, especially if you have a smart scale, like the one I use, it's the Renpo. It's like $20. It matched up with my DEXA scan. It's on my Amazon storefront if you guys want to get it. No, if not, no big deal. But it tracks on an app. So you can put your scale down, turn on your phone, put your phone behind you or whatever, get on the scale, have it do its number, and then close the app without looking at it. And then come back a week later and you can see the trends. So, and get the average.
That's smart.
Yeah. So just one thing to help. That gets you in the habit of doing it, like of weighing yourself daily. But then it also shows you just the weekly average and not the 3 pound spike and then the 4 pound drop. And then, so just one little thing.
People are leaving some funny comments in here.
There might be some girl world adjacent comments that don't make sense. So
what does that mean?
Girl World. So Girl World is a community. I do reactions to some of the girls. So Amberlynn Reed, Alexandra Rodriguez, Glitter and Lasers. They are very large women who are pretty problematic, and it's kind of like reality TV.
Okay.
So there's certain like phrases that we say. So some of those, I've seen a few of them in the chat, but yeah, you can ignore those. I would suggest not getting into Girl World.
Now I'm so tempted to.
It is so interesting.
Somebody had asked, what do you think is a good response when people start telling you you're getting too thin? I'm still overweight, but a few people are saying I'm too skinny now. The best thing to do is ignore it, honestly. Go ahead. You respond first.
So one thing about this is people, especially if you are like larger and you have been larger for the majority of the time that person has known you, if you start losing weight, they're used to you being big, whether you're 100 pounds overweight, 200, 300, whatever it is. So as you start losing weight, it's like, it's challenging an idea in their brain of who you are, and it makes them feel weird. So first of all, people shouldn't be commenting on your body if you lose or gain weight anyway. Right. I think that's inappropriate in real life. Well, online too, for the most part, but in real life, I would never go up to someone and say, "Oh my God, you lost weight. You look so great." What if they're depressed? What if they're going through, chemo or something? The only time I will is if I know they're on a weight loss journey and
they've shared it with you.
And they're doing it healthily, because I'm not going to say good job and no, they're eating 1,000 calories a day or something crazy. So the fact that they're even commenting on it at all, personally, I wouldn't say I'm confrontational, but I'm very direct. And I would say that is an incredibly inappropriate thing for you to say to me. I would appreciate if you minded your own goddamn business. Maybe not like that, but very similar. But I've also experienced things at my last job where people would make comments about the food that I ate. I don't comment on people's food in real life.
Dude, that used to piss me off so bad.
It got to the point where I said, and I know this is mean and that's okay because it happened so often. There is a reason why I look the way that I do and you look the way that you do. Leave me alone. Oh, I hated that. I almost went to HR. Like, I hated it.
I don't understand that either. It's like, I'm eating normal human food.
It was never anything crazy.
So strange to you.
Turkey, rice, beef.
Yeah, I used to get that a lot too. When I worked at 1P, everybody ate the same way. But prior to that, other jobs like constant, why aren't you going out to lunch with us? Why? I'm like, well, first of all, I'm not trying to spend money on that every single day. Yeah. Second of all, mind your business.
Yeah. I don't feel good eating that type of food. It hurts my stomach. I don't want brain fog at 2 p.m. Why are you so tired at 2 p.m.? Why aren't you going on a walk during lunch? Actually, if we really want to get into habits.
Yeah, no kidding.
I hate that so much.
Yeah.
Okay. We already covered this one. What would you say to the women in her 40s, 50s, 60s who thinks it's too late to start?
It is never too late to start. It's never too late to start. You will only thank yourself. One thing that really gave me a sense of urgency when I was in my 20s and I was struggling with my weight that I would think about often is this. I don't know how this is going to sound to you guys, but it's what I would tell myself. I didn't want to waste my youth struggling with my weight. And I was like, I don't want to wait until I'm in my 50s to finally get a handle on my weight. I want to, not that you can't enjoy being fit at any age, but that was a way that I gave myself a sense of urgency of like, okay, Paula, get it together. Because, just dragging your feet on getting started or the whole all start on Monday mentality. It's like, why procrastinate getting healthier when time is not stopping? Like, you're not getting any younger. Things will get more challenging for you in the future, not because your body stops responding, but just because life changes and injuries happen easier. And especially if you don't have the muscle built, and there's going to be other things that creep up in your later years that can make it a little bit harder from a lifestyle standpoint. Why wait until things get harder? Why let the time pass? You also don't know how long you're going to live. You don't know how many years you're going to have here. So you may as well make the years that you do have here feel really good and to be really proud of yourself for following through with things. So anytime people use that thought like, oh, well, I'm too old to do this now, I'm just going to accept my fate. It's like, that's the sunk cost fallacy. I've spent X amount of time living in a certain circumstance, I may as well just continue being miserable. It's like,
Yeah.
you
don't
deserve
have
to be
to.
happy. Yeah. You don't have to be
Yeah.
miserable.
And you deserve to like the way that you look. I
Yeah.
find this so common in the fat acceptance community, which the people in that community are delusional anyway. So it's like, I understand why they believe this, but people are so afraid to say, like, I want to lose weight or I want to get fit because I want to look good. They always qualify it with, which health reasons I think are the number one, of course. But they say, you know, I want to do this, I want to do that, like 10 things. And then at the very end, and I want to look better in a bikini. You can say that loud and proud.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
nothing
if you
wrong
want to
with
look
that.
hot.
Yeah, I hate how there's a
It's
stigma
crazy.
that's been placed on wanting to look more fit or have an athletic
Yeah.
look.
Yeah, you could. It's okay if you want to see your shoulder caps or if you want to see your quad sweep, you want to see your back muscles. Nothing wrong with that, my friends.
Absolutely.
Okay. What advice would you give to women who feel like they have tried everything?
This one's tough because I feel like it's just not true. When someone says they've tried everything and nothing works, usually what they haven't tried is tracking
I,
consistently in a deficit for a prolonged period of time
yep.
and seeing the change over time. People, I'm going to tell you what, guys, I have been doing this for a very long time. I have coached thousands of people over the years. I have looked at thousands and thousands of food logs. Let me tell you, I have
Hundreds of thousands at this point.
so many people. And I used to coach coaches too. So for 6 years, I coached coaches on how to get people better results and you know, how to build their brand and stuff. So they had, you know, clients as well. So my point with this is most people without guidance do not track the right way. They don't. Most people don't. Most people estimate, most people eyeball. They don't truly weigh what they're consuming or account for every single thing that has calories that goes into their mouth. So when I have people who tell me, I had this a comment on a TikTok one time when I was talking about tracking your food. I was like, it's literally like magic. If you just hit the calories every single day, hit your calories, hit your protein every single day, it's literally like magic how your weight will come down. And somebody commented on it and said, I tried that. Unfortunately, it didn't work for me. And it's hard to say this without sounding snarky, but you didn't do it right if that's the case, because a caloric deficit works for 100% of people. It works for 100% of people. Either your numbers weren't right if you do feel like you were tracking appropriately, or you just didn't account for everything and there are hidden calories that are not being accounted for. The line between a deficit and maintenance is finer than people think it is sometimes. And you could
Especially when you're short.
Especially when you're short. Yeah, you have to be even more fine-tuned. But like, if you are eating in a healthy deficit, we'll say, where your calories aren't too low, let's just say for just an average number, you're, 400 calories into a deficit. Well, if that's where you're supposed to be to see healthy, sustainable fat loss, just one day of eating in a surplus can average out your calories for the week to being into maintenance. So it's like all this effort feels like it was for nothing, or that it's not working because that one day sent you sideways, that you didn't track the things that you ate off. So if you track 6 out of 7 days, that 7th day can do you in. So my advice would be just trust the process and be honest with yourself about what you're consuming so you can see the reality of what you're actually intaking every single day.
So I have a side note to what you just said about you're tracking 5 to 6 days in the week. And one of the biggest tips I think me and Paula will give for people wanting to lose body fat is eating the same thing. Because let's say Monday through Friday, you're cooking up these elaborate meals. You're tracking it. Let's say you make a soup. You're tracking 20 different ingredients that went into the soup. That takes up so much mental energy. And you're doing that for 5 days. On the Saturday, or let's say Saturday comes, you're like, man, I've been real good. I tracked everything down to the gram. I'm just going to go eat a brunch with my girlfriends. I've been really good. You're not going to track it, or you track it loosely. You just ate back your entire maintenance in that one day. So choosing foods that you are able to repeat. Sure, so swap out the berries or the protein sources or the cottage cheese for Greek yogurt or whatever it is, but having meals that you can go to reliably and you can pre-plan in your MyFitnessPal or Lucid or Chronometer or whatever, it helps so much. You don't have to think.
It reduces friction. Friction is one of the biggest things that cause issues for people. And I think that there are these types of creators in social media, which this is not a bad thing by any means. So don't think that's what I'm trying to say, but there are people in the fitness world who also love cooking, and they are very creative with their recipes, and they create these really elaborate macro recipes. It can make other people feel elaborate. Like they're elaborate. And you know what? That works for someone who loves to cook and who loves the process of doing that, and they can make it work and track it. But if you're someone who doesn't love cooking like that, and you don't love that process, and some people love tracking, some people hate it, it stresses them out. You have to understand what type of person you are, because one, not every single fit person's nutrition looks that way. Like my meals are very boring looking. They're like single ingredient meals. It's very simple. It tastes fine. I'm happy with it. Nothing I do is elaborate because I don't want to track that much crap. Like I just want to log what I'm, the couple things that I'm eating for this meal and move on with it. So I think that there's this perception sometimes in social media when you see these really beautifully curated meals and, what people are putting together, and like they'll post those like carousel posts of like everything that I, everything I eat in a day. First of all, half the time that's a lie. For a lot of people, I know tons of very large influencers that have millions of followers who will post stuff like this. I know them firsthand. They don't eat like that all the time. It's just for content because it's pretty and it gets views and it gets clicks and people will save it. But that's not what they're doing all the time. It's just so much effort.
So it's so funny you say that, because I'll post my meals often on my Instagram, but I'll make sure to post the meals that are not like
the meals that look pretty.
Look, this is a common meal for me. Let's see if I can, show it without, can I pause it? I don't think so. It's literally sardines on rice and then some salmon. Like not every meal is going to be pretty. Most meals are going to look like shit.
Yeah. I wish
that's okay.
Just had some beef and rice earlier.
It just looks like lunch. That's it. Mix in some avocado. Fine. I will try to plate it most of the time because I just like doing that. But the elaborate meals, like, meal prep these breakfast burritos. I'm like, I don't want to do all of that.
No, it's too much effort.
Too much in my brain.
Again, if you love doing it, more power to you. But I have found that most people don't like doing that. It's just too much effort, too much time. People who have work full time and have kids, they don't got time for that. So simple is better.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so these two questions are going to be wrap-up questions. And then if we have time, maybe Paula will like to answer some in the comments. If not, that's okay too.
Yeah,
we like our protein slop. I've been making protein slop, and people are like, what is it? What is it? I'm like, you guys, it tastes great, but it's a texture nightmare. I get 2 eggs or 1 egg and egg whites, slop in some cottage cheese into the pan. I weigh it out. It's over 100 grams. So it's wet and sloppy. And then I mix in some seasonings. Horrible texture. I don't mind it. I love it though. I get like 40 plus grams of protein that way. It's good. I like it. It tastes like cheesy eggs to me. I love it.
Listen, if it works, it works. Somebody said there's a notion that if every meal you eat is not gourmet and seasoned to the max, you're depriving yourself. You should like the foods you eat, but you do not have to love everything you eat. Amen to that. Amen to that.
Thank you for the super chat. And I agree.
I think that is such a great comment that people need to hear. You don't have to love absolutely every single thing that you eat. Food is fuel at the same time. It's like, I don't know.
I understand because I was someone who was addicted to food. Full stop. Food, sugar, anything I love to eat. Even now, like I love it. I can eat so much. I love it. So I have to, be mindful about what I eat and actually listen. I have to listen to leptin, which is the fullness hormone. It takes about 20 minutes to go from stomach to brain, by the way. I have to listen to it. Otherwise, your girl can, keep going. And it took a while for me to learn not every meal needs to be crazy. Not every meal needs to be beautiful or elaborate. But then also it is important to note that food does have a very strong cultural relevance to certain cultures. So that is something, to pay attention to. But it doesn't have to, you don't have to have food rule your life. Like I'm no longer a slave to food. Food does not control me. I control my thoughts around food now. It used to, and it sucked. And it's hard to break out of that. It took therapy, by the way. I didn't fix that by myself, but I'm finally at the point where I'll eat and I'm like, oh, nice, good. I feel good. It's good for my lifts, it's good for my cardio, whatever I'm doing. And I move on. I have other things I need to do.
Yes. Somebody had said, I lost it, but gosh dang, I lost the comment, but it was something like, if every meal is gourmet, what makes a special meal special? I just want to talk about that real quick
Uh-huh.
because for me, I'm a big believer that people should have a higher standard for their like quote unquote off plan eating. So like
Mhm.
what most people do, you know, throughout the week is like ordering DoorDash or getting Chipotle, getting Chick-fil-A here and there, this, that, the other. And like those things definitely drive up your calories and create a problem. But it doesn't, like for me, I would rather eat more plain throughout the week, low friction, super simple, same thing every day. So when I do go out on a date night with my husband, I have so much more enjoyment in the meal because it is a special meal. Like
Yeah.
not every single thing you eat needs to be special. You don't need to treat every single day, and it dulls your taste buds whenever you're consuming hyperpalatable things too
Yes.
often. So when you actually do have, you know, this meal out, it's just not as enjoyable. Like to me, I love looking, it's my favorite pastime is going out on a date night with my husband to an Italian restaurant or a steakhouse. Like I look forward to that and I enjoy myself while I'm there. I do always order something protein based because that's what I want to eat. It's just my
Right.
lifestyle. But I do eat the
Oh,
bread and butter. I do eat an appetizer. Like I'll have a dessert. And I enjoy it so much more because it's a rarity. It's not something I do all the time.
yeah. You just said something that sparked a thought. So how you said I go out to eat and I still choose a protein meal. Something
Mm-hmm.
that drives me freaking insane is when someone sees you, whether you watching or you or me, eating normal whole foods, and they say, "When are you gonna start eating normal?"
This is my
What?
diet.
This is normal. What do
This
you
is what I
mean?
eat.
What? Like, when are you gonna start enjoying yourself?
Believe it or
What?
not, this is a
I
choice.
am. I am
Yeah.
enjoying this because if I was to go back to how I used to eat, brain fog. There's no way I can be speaking the way that I am now in full sentences if I was eating the way that I did back then. My gut, my digestion, there absolutely not.
Someone says, don't tell Liv Schmidt you're eating the bread and butter. I don't know who that
Oh,
is. I've heard that name before. Was she anti bread and butter? Because I'm going to tell you right now,
she
easily top 5 favorite foods for me is bread and butter.
Liv Schmidt is she gives me whiplash because a lot of the things that she says are normal, like portion control and stopping eating when you're full and get your steps in. But then at the end, she's very thin. She's underweight, so she's part of like Skinny Talk. She sells a
Okay.
skinny course, but she makes a lot of rage baity reels, and she just did one about bread, how skinny girls don't eat bread. So that thing that
Bullshit. I love bread and
she's
butter.
crazy. Here, I'll actually pull it up really quick.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I just need everyone to know they're like, listen, I went to dinner the week before last. My husband and I had a double date with some friends of ours, and the husband in the couple, he was like, so if nothing counted, referring to calories, he's like, if nothing counted, what would you eat? And I was like, what do you mean, right now at this dinner, or just like in general? He's like, in general. And I'm like, same things I always eat. What do you mean if nothing counts? I don't eat this way because I feel like I'm handcuffed to eating this way. I want these foods. Like this is, he's like, oh, come on. I'm like, well, I mean, I love a burger, but I don't need a burger all the time. Like I don't always want something that heavy. To your point, how it makes you feel. When I was in the yo-yo phase of my life, in the times where I was like eating very poorly, girl dinners, snacks, drinking wine all the time, I was in a bad mood a lot more often.
Mhm.
It affected my mindset so heavily. It made me so irritable. I know that I was a bee, and when I'm eating healthy, I everything is just so much better. I feel
Yeah,
better, my digestion's better, my brain is better, I'm
everything.
happier. Yeah.
People get upset when I say humans are supposed to eat primarily whole foods. It's like I'm not saying you have to eat what I'm eating, but foods that come from animals, from the ground, from trees,
Yeah, man.
in
It's
any form, you can have it from any part of the world. It's just real food,
it
real food. I don't understand why that's so
it's
controversial.
kind of crazy how we've gotten to this point as a society where we're just convincing people to eat real food.
Yeah, it's very strange. But again, it comes back to people get very defensive about the actions that they're taking. And again, I always have to preface this because some people like to think that I say only eat whole foods. I have never and will never say that. I'm a proponent of 80-20, 90-10.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily whole foods, 80 to
Yeah.
90% of the time. And then the other 10-20, I don't care. Paula will see on my logs, my 10 to 20 recently has been cashew ice cream.
At least you're
Like
logging it.
yeah, and it's like half a cup worth. There's a place down here that they make it. It's like a homemade cashew ice cream place.
That's awesome.
Half a cup, done. No guilt. And guess what? It's not impeding my goals.
Literally.
And I can kind of fit it into my macros.
When you can control it.
All right. So here's the post.
No, I would be eating that. But she has a cocktail. What?
Yeah. Yeah, she drinks a lot.
Don't eat the bread, but just drink yourself into oblivion.
So the caption says, no, I don't just have one. The bread basket always shows up like it's doing you a favor. It's not. I didn't resist. I just didn't want it. Skinny girls don't argue with bread. We ignore it and move on with our lives. Cue the comments telling me to live a little.
I would have to resist commenting. Is this satire?
So a lot of the things she does is rage bait, but I do think that she doesn't really, she's not eating really. Like she's very small.
Guys, I'm going to tell you what, social media is a production. When you see somebody who has lots and lots and lots and lots of followers, not that this is always the case. When you see someone with lots of followers, they are curating everything that they put out there, dude.
Yeah. This woman is a multimillionaire, you guys. She knows what she's doing. Like, look.
Yeah, this is manufactured content. And rage bait does work. I bet you that was rage bait.
She is a really big rage baiter. But what's problematic about her is she has the thing called the Skinny Society where people pay her to be in like this group. And again, some of the things that she says make sense, although it's always said from the lens of like underconsumption. And the people in her group are younger women who just want to be skinny, which is why it's problematic.
Sorry, I was responding to a comment in there. Okay. Someone said drinking alcohol is worse. It is worse. It's literally poison.
Yes.
Please don't make a post that you shouldn't be eating the bread when you can clearly see the martini. And not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with having an occasional cocktail, just so you know, like as long as you can control it,
bread
you're not overdoing
is better.
And just again, I want to come back to like, but I'm not doing that all the time. Like my husband and I might go on a date night like twice a month, and I'm going to enjoy myself while I'm there because I'm so controlled and contained on a regular basis that I'm afforded the flexibility of being able to do that.
This is true. So she totally contradicts herself because she has multiple posts saying skinny girls aren't afraid of bread. We bite, you take a bite, move on, and don't dwell. So she is it's manufactured rage bait and content to get people to get people to comment, and then it all funnels into her Skinny Society where she makes millions of dollars. So that's it.
Anyone over 110 pounds is a fatty. Oh man, I'm so sad. I know who this person is now. It's just gonna piss me off.
She made a podcast with her friend. Oh my God, that's insane.
That's literally insane.
Yeah, any woman who has any amount of muscle mass is going to weigh more than 110 if they're average height.
Yeah.
muscle weight. Oh, another thing, Paula, this kind of reminded me, what is your thought about, I saw a couple comments where it's like, oh, I'm like 5 to 10 pounds away from my ultimate goal weight. What should I do? And my first thought is always switch from losing body fat to trying to gain muscle. Because I think in that process, because most women aren't lifting. So when they if you're getting down to like your goal body weight, which is such an arbitrary random number, I always ask people why this number? And it usually ties back to some weird like 2010 era thing. But if you get down to your goal body weight and you're not lifting weights, I promise you probably still won't like how you look because you don't have that frame underneath.
Right.
So if you're getting down to like your ultimate goal weight, maybe try to switch to lifting to put some, shape on you. Because if you lose weight,
Well, and I would say with that, it's not even necessarily like you're shifting, right? You're just now prioritizing another variable where if someone's 5 to 10 pounds away from their goal and they've been, operating in a healthy manner, let's just assume that like you're tracking, you're eating your protein, you're hitting your calories, eating whole food, whatever. To Melina's point, absolutely. If you haven't been lifting weights, like make sure you're lifting weights because there's not going to be anything magical that changes in those last 5 to 10 pounds that you could get the flu and lose 5 to 10 pounds and you're not going to look any different. So like, there's no magic that's going to be occurring in that time frame that's going to significantly change the shape of your body the only thing that's going to do that is building muscle over time for sure. And it's best to start your journey doing that, because nothing's more frustrating than somebody who only focuses on weight loss for the entirety of their journey without lifting weights, gets down to that point and they're still not satisfied because your shape didn't change. You lost weight, but you're a smaller version of the same rough shape that you were before. And then now it feels almost like you're kind of starting over with this brand new goal. So if you start with lifting weights, a lot of people tell me that they're back to the whole bulky question. They're like, well, I don't want to lift too much, while I'm trying to lose fat, because I don't want to get bigger before I get smaller. And I'm like, you're just going to get smaller. Lifting weights is going to make your muscle tissue denser. It's not going to make it larger, and you'll still be losing fat. So what will happen is while the fat's coming off, you're building muscle. So that way, as you get leaner, you're like peeling off the layers of fat and revealing this toned physique that you've been spending that same amount of time building. So don't waste the time not lifting.
Exactly. The only reason I didn't, because when I started my fat loss journey back in 2020, they closed the gyms. So I couldn't lift. So I lost all the weight. And then same thing. I was like, well, that's great. I lost the weight, but now I'm just like a smaller version of who I was. So then I started lifting, gaining muscle, and I love how I look now. It took a long time, but yeah, gaining muscle is always the answer. Also, if you start lifting and you see yourself getting like bulky, I say this in the kindest way possible. It is the body fat, not the muscle.
Yeah.
You're not getting bulky from the muscle. It is the body fat on top of the muscle.
People also don't realize how much fat there is on their body. I saw a TikTok post recently.
Oh my God.
And this guy, it was so funny. He was like, and I'm literally just saying what he said, but he was like, you're fatter than you think you are. I promise you.
Yeah.
He's like, if you're telling me you're trying to just lose like 15, 20 more pounds, it's like, you could
Try
probably
30.
lose 50. Yeah. He's like, you could lose a lot more than that. And I'm not here to tell anybody what their goal should be or what they should want to look like. So when clients are at like, when should I move to maintenance? And I'm like, when you're satisfied with your body fat percentage, like that's not up to me to tell you, because like what I want to look like is probably not what the average person wants to look like necessarily. I want to look like a bodybuilder. I want you to see me in the streets and think that girl bodybuilds. Like that's what I personally want.
I want my veins showing all the time.
Yeah. I want to be vascular. Like that's my personal preference. But not everybody wants to achieve that. So, anyway, I forget where I was going with that, but, just, you're not going to get too big. That's what I was saying. Like you might have more fat on your body than you think. Like even up to stage lean, I have fat on my body still, like shredded veins on my lower abs, like very, very, very lean, leaner than I can stay year round. Still have fat on my hamstrings, like still have cellulite on my hamstrings. Like that's, your body just holds on to way more fat than you think that it does. So
yeah, that reminds me of a DM that I got from someone. And I don't like answering advice questions in my DMs just because there's too much and it just, I simply can't. But this one, certain ones I will answer. And she said, how I really want to lose the fat in my lower stomach. I've been in a calorie deficit. What do I do? And I said, I'm going to be honest. You just have to keep doing it. You have to, there's two options: calorie deficit, liposuction.
Literally.
Unfortunately, those are the only options. You cannot crunch your way into it. You cannot exercise your way. You just have to stay consistent. And this is what it kind of relates to plateaus also, where people will, they'll lose weight, hit a plateau. And then they're like, well, like, I don't know what to do. And typically around, at least what I found with myself and people who I've talked with about plateaus is they're in deficits for so long, they start to get a little sloppy because they've been tracking so long.
Yeah.
So it's just, you just have to keep going.
Actually, I have something that I want you to share real quick. I have a really, really great example. I hope that I can find it quickly of this client. Okay. Take a look at this. This is a girl I worked with years ago. If I just screenshot and text this to you, can you screen share? Cause I don't know how to do that. Here, you know what? I'll just send you this link.
Okay. Can you do it on the private chat on?
Stand by. This is just how do I find the private chat? I'm such a boomer.
If you look on the right, you might be able to see it says private chat.
I see it here.
Yeah.
So this is just a Canva link. I have this in Canva. So just to give a visual to how your body composition will change whenever you really focus on building muscle. This is a client I worked with years ago. Now the results in this photo, Are you able to pull it up? Is it
Yeah,
working
yeah.
for you? Oh, okay, good. I
Yep,
wanted to
there
make
we
sure
go.
the permissions. So
Yep.
she's the same weight in both of these photos. So these were 5 years apart. She sent that to me. So just for in good faith, I'm not responsible for this transformation here. This was just one of her progress photos while she was working with me on the right, but she had found this progress photo from 5 years prior. And she was like, Paula, I'm the same weight in both of these pictures. That's the difference of body composition change over time. So same exact weight, totally different shape. That is the beauty of building muscle. So you can see 5 years of training, she didn't get bulky. She just changed her shape because her body fat reduced, her muscle increased, which is why her weight is the same. But you can see how differently the fat is distributed on her body. So it's just a much more optimal shape for somebody.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's
such a good example.
Yeah. I have an example of my back, but I don't know where it's at, but it's the same thing. I weigh the same, but drastically different body compositions.
Total shift.
Awesome. So what is one habit most women could start this week? Well, I guess most people, but my audience is mostly women could start this week that would help move the needle.
Oh my gosh. It is so hard to pick just one and to try and put a priority on one, because it's like, I want my answer to be like tracking your calories, but I also, can I choose two? I would say if you
choose as many as you want.
Okay. We'll say eating in a structured manner. This is one of the biggest, I have narrowed down most people's issues when it comes to their food to not having any sort of structure to their day-to-day eating. People don't eat meals. They graze, the meals they will eat will be like a big DoorDash order from somewhere for lunch, and then a big dinner, or they just snack around in the evening. There's no structure to it. Start eating in a structured manner every day. Eat protein every single time you eat. That simple. And then just start increasing your steps. Start tracking your steps and increase from where you are right now. If you're at 4,000, increase to 6. If you're at 6,000, increase to 8. If you're 8, increase to 10. But just try and work yourself up to 10,000 steps per day. If you start eating more structured, that's going to help reduce snacking periods throughout the day. It's going to give you normal hunger cues throughout the day as well. A lot of people tell me that they have a hard time hitting their macros because they're just not hungry in the middle of the day. And I'll have clients who are like, hey, sometimes I'm not hungry when it's time to eat. What do I do? And I'm like, suck it up and eat. That happens to me too. And I just do it because you have to create and maintain that habit. So like just structured eating, like make sure that it's structured, make sure they're appropriate portions, just structured, dude. And movement.
That's why I harp so much on eating a high protein breakfast, regardless of like what time you're eating breakfast. Like that part's kind of irrelevant, at least for me. But this just happened the other day. I don't know what day it was, but I always start my day high protein. It's like usually 40-ish grams of protein, because one, keeps you full, satiated, all that good stuff. But also front loading protein in the beginning of your day is going to ensure you eat your enough protein throughout the day. The other day, I was probably locked into something, doing work. And then let's just say I had to somehow get in 76 grams of protein for dinner. I didn't.
That is
because I'm usually pretty structured. Like I'll have a nice big breakfast, and then I'll have like a big dinner, and then my snack, which is also like a meal. So I'm able to splice it up. But if I end up skipping breakfast for some weird reason, good luck, soldier. You're gonna have a hard time.
Start early. Absolutely.
And I actually found the photo that I was talking about. So this was 51 weeks ago. So this was almost a year ago. Both pictures, I was 114 pounds.
Wow. That's a big difference.
And even now, I'll probably make a new one, because you know how my back looks now. And right now I'm about like 110, 111. And I'm even more like shredded here. But it's like
do that.
Muscle composition matters. And yes, I'm removing this tattoo. This is almost gone also. So if you guys were wondering.
Dude, that's awesome. I love that. I love side-by-side progress pics.
I did too. It's awesome. So this was when I lost all my weight, obviously. And then I switched to hypertrophy training. I was eating, lifting, and then I gained muscle. I always say gaining muscle was easy. And I say that in quotes. Easy for me because your girl, why is it's not closing. Oh, there we go. Your girl likes to eat and your girl likes to train to failure.
Yeah, no, you do a very good job of training with intent.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think I have one more wrap up.
This is going to be a really hard one for me to answer.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah.
All right. If you could debunk one health myth, you could do a couple if you want to. One health myth or a few for women forever, what would it be?
I guess the first thing that comes to mind is that tracking doesn't work for some people. I know I sound like a broken record on this, like I'm talking about tracking so much, but like
it's needed.
There's so much power in data and knowledge and bringing awareness to what you're actually consuming. So for anybody who thinks that it doesn't work, I would say that is a myth. It works for everybody. Sometimes people will categorize tracking macros as a diet, like keto or intermittent fasting or carnivore or something. And it's not. It doesn't matter what dieting strategy or nutritional strategy you employ, you're still consuming calories and you still have to know how many calories you're consuming and hit a consistent amount every single day.
Tracking is like a strategy, whereas a diet is how someone technically everyone has a diet. It's just what you are eating. So it's like more of a strategy.
Yeah, it's just awareness. It's like you're going to consume the calories either way. Now you just know what you're eating. And so many people want to hide from the truth. If you can just face the truth and learn, like, what's your starting point? What do you weigh right now? Like, don't hide from that. Don't hide from the reality of the situation. Don't hide from the calorie contents of what you're consuming. But myth, what are some myths that you feel like are perpetuated? I need a list of myths to be able to pick from one.
I think for me, it's definitely the bulky thing.
Yeah.
That definitely really pisses me off. Also, I don't know if this is necessarily a myth. It's more something that grinds my gears, but like the whole toning thing.
Yeah.
Do Pilates to tone. My friends, toning is not a physiological process. You can either gain muscle, lose muscle, gain fat, lose fat. Those are the only things you can do to change the shape of your body.
Right.
What toning is having enough muscle mass, losing body fat to show it. That's all toning is.
Right.
And I understand why people say it. Like, I'm not saying it to like be mean or anything. It's just, it's so common. It's so frustrating.
No, for sure. It's crazy that it's still a thing. I feel like that's just been a perpetuated thing forever.
And another thing that it kind of, I think another reason why it frustrates me is because people will say, oh, well, just lift lighter weights for longer to tone your muscle. I'm like, no, stop it. It's not how it works. So I think that would probably be one of the big ones.
And Magpie put in the chat the myth that PCOS, endometriosis, or menopause halt your metabolism. Yes, thank you for putting that in there. I would say that is it right there. That is it right there. I cannot believe I didn't think about that initially. The whole thought that if you're diagnosed with PCOS, you can't lose weight, or if you're in menopause, you can't lose weight, or for some reason your hormonal condition is going to prevent you from being able to lose weight. Losing weight is going to improve your hormonal condition in a lot of circumstances.
Yeah.
Like that's a part of what is going to improve your blood markers. So it's not that the blood markers are usually an indication that something's like off, right? And that your weight is a culprit in that. And because usually people who do struggle with some of these things also are overweight and need to lose the excess adipose tissue. Excess adipose tissue drives up inflammation inside the body. So guess what? When you reduce fat, you're going to improve your overall, inflammation, systemic inflammation that you're holding on to.
Yeah. People forget that body fat, like your adipose tissue is metabolically active. It's not just sitting there being like cute and quirky. Like it's affecting your hormones.
Yeah.
Speaking of menopause, this woman, I love her. A lot of you guys probably follow her. Her name is Beth. She, no bullshit online.
Oh, I've seen her.
Strong over skinny. She just did a cut. I think she's in perimenopause or menopause. And she busts the myth of menopause causing the myth that menopause causes excessive fat gain in women. And yeah, she is just awesome. So here we go.
Somebody else. She's got a really large TikTok. I'm going to send this to you in the private chat as well. This is a good friend of mine. I've known her for years. She is 50 and she's in her mid 50s, but
wow,
she's another really great example.
She's mid 50s.
She looks insane.
Wow. Yeah.
She's got a really big TikTok too, puts out really great content. You love her and her attitude because she'll respond to like all the comments that she gets from people.
Wait till you're my age. And
Yeah,
she's
but
like, I'm
no,
50. Yeah.
she's amazing. I love Kendra so much.
That's awesome. It's funny. I always think about like, what am I going to be doing in my 40s, in my 50s? I think this is about where I'll be. This actually, I was talking about her earlier. I just recognized her face. Let me see if I can click on it. Here we go. She's another woman. She is, it doesn't say how old she is.
I've seen her before too.
She is awesome. She's in her 60s.
Wow. Oh my gosh. My future is bright.
Yes, she is incredible.
See, the reason
it's possible.
And people think that this is some sort of anomaly. This is just somebody who's lived the lifestyle for a long period of time. The problem is we just don't have as much evidence of women in their 60s who look like this because fitness wasn't super popular when they were our age. It started with bodybuilding like in the 70s, you know, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's heyday, and didn't really gain a ton of popularity with the masses until like, I would say the 90s, the, you know, early 2000s. So it's just a lot of women her age never really had the opportunity to get into this lifestyle. So that's just, there's just not a ton of evidence, but this is just absolute proof that like, she's a normal everyday person. She just does the work.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people try to get on her like, oh, well, you take HRT, which is hormonal replacement therapy, but she got fit before taking HRT, and HRT does not take away from the fact that she still put in the goddamn work.
Right.
Like she still, like she struggled with alcohol for a long time and she got her shit together.
So, I'm obsessed with her.
Yeah, she's awesome. I love her. So yeah, where do we see ourselves in our 50s? I think you can see it here.
My future is bright.
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, there's that one. And then
it doesn't feel like it's been 2 hours.
When we do our calls, we'll end up talking. We're like, oh my God, I gotta go.
I know, I gotta get some steps in.
We could talk forever. So thank you guys so much for being here. Let me make sure I got all the super chats. Oh, there's one for you. Okay, hold on. Let me see.
What is that?
What?
A super chat.
So super chat is when people can send in money and it'll show, it'll show as different colors. And it's just a way for people to make sure that their comment gets read, because as you can see, the chat just, it's impossible to see. So this is just one way for people to support, which thank you guys. You guys, of course, never have to send super chats. It is very sweet. But two, it also ensures that their comment gets read. So girls, please listen to them on this one. I lost 20 pounds from a calorie deficit and protein, 5 pounds to go. I still look fat, which is skinny fat. And I wish I'd been more patient. Yeah, but the good thing is you have the opportunity to change it, and you know now, and you lost the weight. So congratulations on that. So we just got to focus on lifting.
Hell yeah.
And then this one's from Flour and Concrete. I like that username. Thank you for the super chat. Paula, do you notice that the culture around food and weight in Dallas can be detrimental to weight loss goals? Think of moving from coast to inland.
That's a really great question. I moved here from Missouri. I was a military brat, so I moved around quite a lot, but I spent most of my adulthood in Missouri. And I'll tell you that I think in general, the level of fitness here is a little bit higher than what I experienced in the Midwest. I don't know how to answer why that might be the case, but I mean, I think anywhere that you go here, you're going to find pockets of people who have good eating habits or poor eating habits. But I don't think that there is any significant higher or worse culture around food than anywhere else I've seen. But I would say, I guess in my observation, in more urban areas, there seems to be a little more fit people than in more rural areas, just because people are moving around more, they walk a whole lot more, which is going to lead to obviously them having a healthier body weight. But I don't think that there's a particularly noticeable bad culture around food here. There's lots of nice restaurants, but I don't think that it's like a pervasive culture thing here. St. Louis. Yeah, that's where I spent most of my adulthood, was in St. Louis. Nice. I'm from the Lou and I'm proud.
Sleepy Kitty, thank you for the super chat. Patience is key. Exactly. You have to be patient. You have to be consistent, and you have to be honest. Koala, thank you for the super chat. Listening while studying. So can't remember if this was asked already, but what do you think about intermittent fasting and, in quotes, giving your metabolism a break?
I'm not anti-intermittent fasting, but it just has to be something that someone would do long-term. Meaning if it's the way that you want to live your life where you're eating in a shorter window, not just something that you're doing in the short term to try to cut out some of your calories for the day, because there's just no longevity in that. There are a lot of health benefits to fasting because it does, I usually say it gives your digestive system a break, not necessarily giving your metabolism a break. So I know what you mean when you say that, because your metabolism is always working. It's not that it's resting when you're not eating. It's your digestive system. But like when I'll on occasion do like a 24-hour fast, especially following like a weekend of indulgence, coming off of Christmas, I did a 24-hour fast, not because I felt like I needed to erase calories or I was punishing myself, but just genuinely I needed to give my digestive system a break from the, processed food I'd eaten. And it does help. It helps remove metabolic waste. I think that our systems are set up for that. I mean, because if you think about how humans have eaten since the dawn of existence, it's only now in modern society that we have such an overabundance of food that we have to teach ourselves how to not eat too much. Previously, people were trying to survive. There were periods of time where they had food and periods of time where they didn't have food. So your digestive system accommodates that. So there are a lot of health benefits to fasting, but I just don't think people should intermittent fast as like a short-term weight loss strategy, because all you're doing is cutting out a window of eating and removing calories. It's just a way of producing a caloric deficit. You still have to focus on how much you're eating in the window that you are eating. So if as a lifestyle, someone enjoys doing it that way, that's fine. If it's what you're going to do forever.
Yeah. Otherwise, I unintentionally intermittent fast. I realized that like a few weeks ago, I was like, my eating window is really only like 6 or 7 hours, because I don't get hungry till like 11:30, 12-ish. I'll eat and then I'll usually finish my meal around 7, maybe earlier if I go to the gym earlier, and that's it. But I don't do it to like, oh my God, I need to lose weight. I just, that's how I like to listen to my hunger cues, something I haven't done in the past. So it's nice to like go through the cycle of, okay, I'm not hungry when I wake up. Hours go by and then I start to feel hunger and I say, okay, cool. I can't eat, but it's time to eat. I'll eat, feel full, and then it'll taper off. And there's no roller coasters, because I'm not eating, carbs, bagels only for breakfast. I'm eating a high protein breakfast. So, and then Talia, thank you for becoming a member. And then Sheeny Beanie, thank you for super chat. Do the lives on a treadmill, problem solved.
I thought about that. I would get out of breath.
Oh, didn't you? Doesn't your treadmill like make your screen go off?
I posted about it on my story. It's the static electricity. Because I was like, my husband thought that I was crazy. He's like, it has to be your cord that's just like loose. And I'm like, no, every time I touch my desk, literally, if I'm on it while I'm like on my computer, like doing check-ins or something, the moment I touch my desk, it turns my screen off for like 10 seconds and is infuriating. Crazy. It's a static electricity thing. Yeah. I don't know how to fix that.
Oh man, speaking of walking pads, if you guys are watching or on a replay, once I hit 50,000 subs on YouTube, I'm giving away a walking pad, an Instant Pot, and then an air fryer. 1 to like 3, but one person will get one, and then 1. So not 3 people for 3. One day. That's above my pay grade for now, but I am manifesting.
I love that.
I can do something like that one day. Yeah. So it has to be in the United States because shipping.
For sure.
But yeah, that's something I plan on doing. And I do also want to get a walking pad. I need to get a rising desk first, and then I can do that. So someone said, sorry, y'all, the Instant Pot is mine. Dude, Instant Pots are incredible. Game changer. Philip will get a whole chicken and then put like vegetables, some stock, season the chicken, throw it in there. It's done in like an hour. And he has a meal, multiple meals for the week. Done. No thought.
See, that's amazing. We primarily use it just to cook our rice.
Yeah, I do it for rice. I'll do like 4 cups of rice. Boom. All right. I know we're not supposed to technically keep rice that long in the fridge, but I'm like, I haven't gone sick.
That's news to me.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. Yeah.
I'll ignore that.
There's always something. There's always something. So.
Always something.
Yeah. All righty. Well, do you have anything else?
No, just thank you guys so much for all of the awesome comments and for hopping on here and listening to us yap for 2 hours. It means a lot.
Yeah. Thank you for joining. Perhaps you could do this another time.
I would love that.
Yeah, it's fun. I can scrounge up some different questions, or I
would be happy to do some of the reaction content too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. Right. Make sure to write on your calendar or I could write it too, obviously. So we can get together and I can show it. I can show it to you. No, yeah, we can do reactions together too. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Alrighty, guys. Have a good rest of your day. Get your steps in, drink some water, make sure you eat enough and eat enough protein and fiber.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.